I'm Julian, and this is my cognitive social theory. Wait a minute. Cognitive factors help shape how people will react to environmental forces. Human behavior is best predicted from an understanding to how people will interact with their meaningful environment. And I believe that neither the environment or the individual is completely responsible for their behavior. But instead, the past history, expectations are the key in predicting behavior. Now, I want everyone to know that my insights follows Bandura's learning theory, in which he stated that behaviors is more than the trait. It is more than the environment, but an interaction of both. But we can only predict behavior if we know and understand the variables that can affect the behavior potentials. And these variables are reinforcement, expectations, and goal. Here are some basic assumptions of my theory. The first one is humans interact with their meaningful environment. This is somehow related to the subject perception of my dear friend Alfred Adler. Humans living in the same environment have different perceptions, have different personal meanings, attachments, or sentimental values. Next is human personality is learned. It is related to Bandura's learning theory. Personality is a composition of different and knowledge and wisdom accumulated from experiences. We have personality has a basic unity. It is related to Alfred Adler's tenet. People learn to evaluate new experiences on the basis of a previous reinforcement. Next, we have motivation is goal-directed. It is somehow related to Alfred Adler's final goal. We have our main goal, our final goal, and that goal motivates us to do something about it. And lastly, people can anticipate events. This is related to Bandura's conceptualization of human personality. People have an idea what happens if they do or do not do a certain action. And personally, I built a personality theory that attempts to predict human behavior. How can we predict specific behavior? We can only predict specific behavior if we analyze and understand these four variables. The first variable is the behavior potential. It is the possibility that a particular response will occur at a given time and place. Next is expectancy. Expectancy is a person's expectations that their behavior will be reinforced. It is the person's expectations that some specific reinforcement or a set of reinforcements will occur in a given situation. And next we have reinforcement value. Reinforcement value is the extent to which a person wants the reinforcement to happen to themselves. It is the reinforcement received that satisfies the urge and desires. And this reinforcement value has two types. We have internal reinforcement and external reinforcement. The internal reinforcement, it is the individual deems it to be reinforcing. For example, we have our preferences, our tastes, our likes, and etc. Next, we have external reinforcement. External reinforcement, it focuses on the society. Society deems it to be reinforcing. An example of scenario like this is like a person walking up to you like, hey, you need this kind of product, you need this kind of thing to be satisfied. And these two types of reinforcement value can be the same or different from each other. Let me tell you an example. Let's say watching a movie, okay? The situation is you get invited by your friends to watch a superhero movie. But since superhero movie is one of your favorites, it is internally reinforcing for you. Therefore, the probability of the behavior potential that you are going to join them watching the superhero movie will be high, leading you to joining with them watching that superhero movie. So that the internal reinforcement is that you like superhero movies. They are internally reinforcing to you. And the external reinforcement is the society, your friends, they also like superhero movies. See, both internal and external reinforcements have something in common, which is watching superhero movies. And that makes it same. The next and final variable in order for us to understand and predict specific behavior is psychological situation. Psychological situation is the combination of a person's subjective feelings and objective reality at a given point in time. It is the setting or the situation that can affect your behavior response in a scenario. For an example, Lawan is in class. She is very bored and sleepy. She is torn between wanting to rest her head on the desk and sleep or trying to listen to the class. As she looks around the room, some of her classmates were already sleeping and slumbering. The internal cues are boredom, but the external cues are slumbering classmates. And the question is, what is the likelihood that Lawan will act by resting her head on the desk in attempt to sleep? Let's break it down, shall we? First, we have the psychological situation represented by S. She is sleepy, bored, and she has slumbering classmates. Next is expectancy, represented by E. If she rests her head, will she sleep? The reinforcement is sleep or rest. The reinforcement value, represented by RV, does she really need to sleep? And lastly, behavior potential is equal to Well, that depends on the expectancy, reinforcement, and the reinforcement value, and as well as the psychological situation. The formula to get the behavior potential would be the potential for behavior to occur in a situation is equal to the function of expectancy and the value of reinforcement. Let's integrate some values. Let's say the expectancy is Lawan is a fast sleeper. Like, if she can fall asleep fast, then she can attain reinforcement much quicker. And the reinforcement value is she needs to sleep because she didn't get enough rest the night before. So if this is the situation, then the behavior potential is that there will be a high probability that Lawan will rest her head and get some sleep. But if the case is Lawan is not a fast sleeper, like she needs to drink milk before going to sleep, like she needs a soft pillow or something, and the reinforcement value is she is well rested the night before, so the behavior potential is there is a low probability that she will rest her head because she is well rested and she is not a fast sleeper. And take note that if the expectancy and the reinforcement value is high, then the behavior potential would be high also. It is almost impossible, therefore impractical, to predict a specific behavior in it. So why not predict the general pattern of behavior? The variables in predicting general behavior are the general expectancies. These are the prior experiences of reinforcements. These are the past histories or experiences that can help determine how should a people react or behave in a given situation. And next we have the needs or goals. These are the behavior or set of behaviors that people see as moving them in the direction of a goal. All people are generally motivated by goals and also by their needs. Examples of these needs are the need for recognition status, the need for dominance, need for independence, need for protection or dependency, and the need for love and affection. Then we have these need components. The need components is the need potential. The need potential is also like is similar to the behavior potential in predicting the specific behavior. Well, the need potential is a set of behaviors that a person do to achieve a goal or certain reinforcement. These are the possible occurrences of a set of functionally related behaviors directed towards satisfying the same or similar goals. And of course, just like the specific behavior, the behavior potential, it also depends on two variables: the freedom of movement and the need value. We have the freedom of movement or the expectancy. It is similar to the expectancy. The freedom of movement is the expectation of a person that they will perform a set of behavior and those set of behavior will be reinforced. And lastly, we have the need value. And need value is similar to the reinforcement value. So the need value is the degree to which the person prioritizes that reinforcement they will get by doing the set of behaviors. But what is the formula in predicting the general behaviors? Let's find out. If this is the formula in predicting the specific behavior, then in predicting the general pattern of behavior, we have the need potential is equal to the function of freedom of movement and the need value. Let's integrate some values into the equation. For example, how long will a couple last? The need potential, represented by NP, is the need for love and affection. And for the freedom of movement, represented by FM, it is exerting effort, affection, time, care, and attention. And the need value is that expressing genuine emotions to their loved ones relates to the need for love and affection, relates to the need potential. So, in short, therefore, if the freedom of movement of both parties is high, as well as the need value is high, then it is safe to say that the need potential will be high. If they both exert effort, affection, time, care, and attention, and their need value is high in expressing genuine emotions to the loved ones is very important to them, to show how to let the other person know what they truly feel, then attaining the need for love and affection would be satiated, would be achieved. Otherwise, reciprocated. Because if a person doesn't reciprocate the love that you give, therefore that is not true love. That is toxic love. Yeah. Again, if the FM and V are both high, then the need potential would be high. We rely on scientific basis and formula in order to predict specific and general behavior. Using the general prediction formula allows people's history using similar experiences to anticipate present reinforcement. Well, I might say that my most popular scales for measuring generalized expectancies is the internal external control scale. All people have general expectancies in our reinforcements. Some people's behavior can cause that reinforcement. The core of my social learning is that reinforcement does not automatically stamp in behaviors, but it is that people can see the causal connections between their own behavior and the occurrences of the reinforcer. Take this for an example. For the internal control reinforcement, we have studying hard, which is the behavior, and if we study hard, we get higher grades, which is the reinforcement or the reward. And as well as the working hard as the behavior, and it will result to more money. And next we have the external control of reinforcement. First we have the items in an exam. That's the external force or external element or variable. And the reinforcement is the faith of the grades of the student's grade. And next we have the in a industry or the business world, the external force would be knowing the right people. And if we knew the right people, we get more money. Another question in mind is, how do we measure the IE control or the internal external control? We can measure the internal external control with the use of the IE scale. The IE scale attempts to measure the degree to which people can perceive a causal relationship between their own efforts and the environmental consequences. For those people who score highly in internal control, generally believe that the source of control resides within themselves, and that they exercise a high level of personal control in most situations. And people who score high on external control generally believe that their life is largely controlled by forces outside. These forces are fate, destiny, chance, luck, or other behavior of other people. But there are some common misconceptions in my theory, and I would like to disclaim that the internal external control are only general expectations, general. So some misconceptions are the scores on the scale are determinants of behavior. The locus of control is specific and it can predict achievement in a specific situation. And another misconception is that the scale divides people into two distinct types, internals and externals. Many people seem to believe that high internal scores signify socially desirable traits, and those who have high score on external control indicate socially undesirable characteristics. But it isn't the case, because extreme scores on either scale or either direction would be undesirable. If you have an extreme score on internal control, you are more likely to blame yourself for everything, even though you did not take part in doing something. It is not desirable to have a high score on internal control because it can lead to anxiety, depression, overthinking, and such mental health disorders. It is also undesirable to have an extreme score in external control, for You are more likely to blame everyone around you for something that happens to you, even though they did not do anything. So, extreme scores in either direction would be undesirable, unhealthy, and could lead to self-destruction. Avoiding these scenarios can only lead into two ways. It can either be successful or that person establish a maladaptive behavior. What are maladaptive behavior? Well, it is any persistent behavior that fails to move a person closer to their goal. And people who have maladaptive behaviors cannot, I repeat, cannot achieve their goal. It is either the expectations or their goals are too high or too good to be true. Their need value is too high and exaggerated, and their freedom of movement is not flexible, versatile, and their expectations to achieve that goal is very low. For instance, a person has the need for love and affection, and that need is realistic. But some people unrealistically set their goal too high, that their goal is to be loved by everyone, which is not possible and almost impossible and impractical. We cannot make everyone like us, we cannot make everyone love us. There will always be that one person who will contradict us and bring us down. But because their need value, their expectation is too high, it exceeds their freedom of movement, resulting in behavior that is likely to be defensive or maladaptive. And that person tends to be too clingy, too toxic, very much submissive, dependent, always seeks attention, and thirsts for affection, which is very unhealthy, and it can lead to self-harm, self-demise, anxiety, depression, overthinking, and a lot more mental disorders. But how? How can we solve this maladaptiveness? Unfortunately, that is all the time we have for today. I guess that's a story for next time. See you.